Hi, today we're going to be deploying a read-only contact list to iPhones with NinjaOne MDM, and it's remarkably quick and easy to do this. NinjaOne is growing fast in popularity and it supports both iOS and Android devices, and it really does work very well with Contactzilla, our contact management platform. So the basic flow is you generate a mobile config file in Contactzilla. You add it into a NinjaOne iOS policy as a custom payload, and then you assign that policy to a location so the iPhone receives it. So here is the NinjaOne dashboard. I'm going to assume that you already have a NinjaOne organization set up. You have created a location which will be used to group together your devices, for example, main office or sales, etc., and that one or more iPhones are enrolled and assigned to that location. So over in my Contactzilla dashboard, I've opened up the address book I want to deploy, and I've clicked on Device Connections. And the first thing I'm going to do is select iOS from the drop-down here for connection type. The next step is to assign the connection to a team member. So in Contactzilla, you can assign a connection directly to any team member, and that's useful if you just want to get contacts onto that person's phone individually. They can scan a QR code and set it up themselves very easily. But for MDM rollouts, we use a special kind of user called an MDM user, which is a device-only account. So let's create one now. I'll head over to Team Members and add an MDM user device-only access. The email address here is arbitrary, so you can put anything in there. Hit Add, and that's done. You'll see that MDM user added here under Team Members. Let's head back over to Device Connections, and I'm going to select that new MDM user that we just created. Label sync, I'm just going to leave as the default setting. And now decide on the access level for the end users. So for most managed rollouts, full read-only is a popular choice because it prevents any accidental changes to your master contact list. You can, of course, do a full read-write rollout, giving the end users the ability to edit contacts. And if you do select that, we have a handy feature just here to give them that editing capability, but still prevent them from deleting any contacts. And I do want to touch on selective read-only because it's a very useful feature. You don't have to send the entire address book to every device. Instead, you can choose one or more labels, and only the contacts with those labels are deployed to the devices. So if I just add a couple here and hit create, you can see my selective read-only rollout is here ready to go. But I'm going to go with a read-only. And finally, you want to set the number of device connections to match your rollout and then click create. So under the newly created device connection here, if I hit setup, I can download the mobile config file, which we will deploy in NinjaOne. So back over to NinjaOne, and from the left-hand menu, go to Administration, Policies, MDM Policies, and then click Create New Policy. Give the policy a clear name. For me, I'm going with Contactzilla, iOS, CardDAV. And for the role, choose Apple iPhone. And for the parent policy, we're going to choose Apple iOS Mobile Policy, and this gives you NinjaOne's standard iOS baseline, which includes the Apple recommended defaults, and lets your Contactzilla policy inherit those settings. So you're only adding what's specific to contacts, rather than rebuilding an iOS policy from scratch. So click Create, and on the left-hand side of the policy editor, you'll see sections like passcode, restrictions, and so on. For this example, we're not changing any of those. We're only deploying a configuration profile. So we will click Custom Payload. The payload type option here is just a filter for existing payloads. It doesn't affect what gets deployed, so you can ignore it. So click Add Payload, and I like to reference the address book I'm deploying in the name here. So I'm going to go with Contactzilla PCT for Project Cascade Tower address book profile. And NinjaOne shows a default placeholder template here. We just delete everything out of that editor. And we're going to paste in the contents of our Contactzilla mobile config file exactly as it's generated, from the first line to the last line, including the XML header and the plist wrapper. Then click Add, and you will get this confirmation message appear, and then click Save. Then you're prompted to verify with your Authenticator app. So once you've done that, hit Verify. At this point, you should see your payload listed and showing as active. The next step is assigning the policy to your location so devices actually receive it. So to do that, we close this and go to Administration, Organization, select your organization, and then choose Locations. Hover over the one you are deploying to and click Edit. And then go to Policies and the MDM Policies tab over here. If you haven't edited any policies, you'll need to switch this Policy Location Overrides toggle to Enabled. Under Apple iPhone, choose the policy that we created before, so Contactzilla iOS CardDAV in my case. Now before I click Apply, I'm just going to pull up my iPhone screen and go into the native Contacts app so we can watch this address book arriving. So now I'm going to click Apply. And here is the address book appearing now. All of our Contactzilla labels are presented as lists, so your contacts are organized perfectly. Let's go into this project managers list here, for example, and any changes I make back over in our Contactzilla dashboard. So let's first apply a filter for project managers. And I'm going to take this contact Anna Brown here and make a change to her name. Well, those changes will be deployed to the devices that you have added to your NinjaOne location. And you can see that that's updating already on the phone. So NinjaOne has synced with the devices very quickly in my testing. But if you need to manually push these changes, back over in NinjaOne, you can go to Devices and hit this refresh button. So that is it. NinjaOne handles deployment at the location level, and Contactzilla takes care of keeping those contacts up to date across all enrolled devices. We've got some useful links in the video description here if you'd like to try this yourself.